Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Advisor with Stacey Chillemi. And today I'm so excited because we have Michelle Davies on the show, and she is a brain care expert and healer. And she has some remarkable things to talk about in her healing journey and how she helps heal individuals so they could live a healthy, happy, and productive life. And she's going to talk more about this in a minute. I am so honored to have you on the show, Michelle. I am very excited to hear more about what you do and how you heal so many people through the different procedures that you do in your practice. So, can you tell us a little about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, sure. But firstly, this is the greatest honor for me to be here with you because I
Um,
think we share so much about empowering other people and inspiring through the work that we do. So this is the greatest honor for me to share this space with you and to speak to your listeners.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So I've been in the practice of osteopathy for over 27 years, and I am a brain care expert and I practice cranial osteopathy, and I enable people to find the potential to heal themselves because we are born with an innate ability for self-healing. So I try to find what the blockage is for that patient and why they might be struggling with something, and then enabling the body to repair itself. And I trained in this, it was a degree training, and I graduated in 1997 from London, the British School of Osteopathy. And I've been practicing in private practice, and I'm an author. I published two books in this time. One book was in 2020, and the other book was last year.
Can you
Yeah.
tell us a little about those books?
Yes, I'd love to share that. My first book is called Miracle Worker, and my second book is called Mental Clarity. The first book, Miracle Worker, that was a very cathartic writing experience. It was to share as much knowledge as I could so that I could reach more people than can come to see me in my clinic and have my hands on them, because my work is hands on. So I wanted to empower, inspire, and educate as many people as I could. So I wrote this book. It was also a book like a whistleblower book
Hmm.
because the truth was taken away from me and the voices of the public were censored from my work in 2016.
Hmm.
And I felt it was really important to give the public back their voice and to actually express the truth again because I had been so restricted for so long. So I published the 75 testimonials in this book, and there are chapters on how you can heal, how you can do specific exercises for certain problems that you might be suffering with. I wrote about the elderly and children, sports people, professional people, and also a personal journey of my own, which I've shared, which was very sensitive. But I also shared this in the book as well, which is why the entire book was so cathartic. Over the 14 months, I really enjoyed it. Whereas the second book, Mental Clarity, it actually took me 4 weeks from start to finish. It was a very different experience. And the reason I wanted to write it so quick and get the message out, because that was more about the work I do with the brain health, and more about life saving, because I was starting to treat more and more people with anxiety, depression, self harm, and suicide ideation. And I felt I needed to get the message out quickly. So it was very different. Um, that's briefly what the two books are about.
I
They're
love.
both self-help books though, so it
Where
should
can,
be useful.
where can people find them?
They're both on Amazon.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Now, when it comes to osteopathy, can you tell, for people who aren't familiar with it, can you go into more detail and depth about what the practice entails and how it works?
Yes, yeah. So osteopathy has been around since 1874, so
Wow.
before pharmaceutical medicine. And it started in the States, and it then came over to this country in the UK. It's about the ability of the body to repair itself. If you correct the structure, then the function of the body improves. So one area of my work would be the health of the brain. If
Hmm.
I can work with the structures of the brain, like the cerebrospinal fluid
Hmm.
and the protective coverings of the brain, the meninges, the
Hmm.
nervous system, then by improving the structure of the brain, you can improve then the functions, which are largely hormonal.
Right.
That's we believe that every part of the body is connected.
Hmm.
So there could be a pain somewhere, but it's going to be resulting from perhaps a dysfunction somewhere else in the body. So we use our hands, we don't use equipment. We're able to feel, we call it palpate. We're able to feel where the problem lies in the body, allow the body to make the correction, which creates like a balance or an alignment if it's misaligned. It enables blood flow and drainage. And because the body has the innate ability to heal itself, you don't actually have to use much force. You just have to be quite specific with where you're applying your hands and to be able to work in a particular area to get a release. But then the self healing happens and miracles happen because the body is a miracle to work with in the first place. So
Wow.
osteopathy is very natural, very holistic. We treat from head to toe, and we treat all ages. So I will work on babies as young as 2 days young. If they're having problems with feeding and the mum is really keen on breastfeeding,
Hmm.
that's when they would reach out to me when they're only 2 days because
Wow.
I can work with the nervous system, for example, the jaw and the nerve to the tongue, which may actually affect that baby from latching onto the breast to feed.
Oh,
So I
wow.
treat babies and children, and then all the way through to the elderly with arthritis and also dementia and neurological problems such as Parkinson's or MS. And it's all hands on and natural. And there are, I think, maybe about 5,000 osteopaths in the UK. Not sure about how many are in the US, but it's quite a small profession. And there are different approaches in osteopathy. So some osteopaths use a lot of manipulation, more like a chiropractor. And
Hmm.
then you have the other osteopaths, which the way I practice is much more subtle, more gentle, and more like balancing.
Hmm.
But it's much more subtle rather than the manipulation. And I think a lot of people think that osteopaths are bone crackers. Not all of us do crack. So, yeah, hopefully that summarizes osteopathy in a nutshell.
That's wonderful, and how does is this a process that it takes a while for it to start to see changes begin, or is it something that you could actually start to feel minor changes as you go along? How does it work in that sense?
So as soon as I place my hands on somebody's cranium, the head, I instantly, within probably 30 seconds to a minute, I know what's wrong. Because of the 27 years of placing my hands on people, it's very easy then and quick to recognize. Um, the treatment then happens immediately that the hands are on. So you
Mhm.
start making a change and actually feeling the change.
Wow.
Within sometimes within 15 minutes, the treatment is complete. And I
Wow.
only work between 15 minutes and 45 minutes, no longer, because you can actually overtreat the body and then it won't respond the way you want it because it's just overburdened with
Right.
too many jobs to do with what you've just asked it to do. We have to be very respectful of the body and honor the body as we're working and then allow it the time to respond to the treatment. So then you don't want to rush the second appointment either because you need to respect the body has to have time to make the changes and adjustments that you've just asked the body to do.
Right.
So usually about 5, 6, or 7 days from the first appointment to the second appointment. The patient can feel instantly something, even when they're on the treatment couch, they can feel their body. It could be tingling in their feet, even though I've got my hands on their head, or they
Right.
could maybe feel it in their abdomen. So they can feel it, they can sense something's happened when they sit up quite often because
Hmm.
they can some patients will say they feel really high.
Yeah.
Um, and then it can bring on a flu-like response after treatment. So within a day or so, patients can feel quite unwell.
Yeah.
It's a small percentage, but it can happen. And people's mood can change, either for the bad or for the good. just depending on what treatment has been carried out.
Right.
But and sometimes one treatment is enough for that patient to start their journey of healing. And because a miracle has happened in that appointment, because we've just been able to locate the absolute key to that person's healing. And two treatments is significant. So
Mm.
I've had patients respond to two treatments that were suicidal and self-harming. And you think,
Wow.
wow, like how has that happened that only two treatments of 30 minutes, so that's 1 hour of treating, yet the body can completely change in that time. And you that's life-saving for somebody. Um, or a child that's taking hours to feed because they have maybe cerebral palsy and
Yeah.
they're unable to feed effectively. And one parent was reporting that it was taking at least 4 hours a day to feed their child,
Wow.
a lot of distraction as well. And after one treatment, it took 10 minutes to feed their daughter, just
Wow.
for one treatment. So I was like, wow, like how
Yeah.
amazing is that? Most of the time, I'm actually blown away myself
Yeah.
because it's like having an expectation, but not having an expectation at the same time. And I'm just totally overjoyed when I do get such a response because it's just, yeah, wonderful. So
Yeah.
the treatment response can be very quick. It doesn't have to be slow, but not everybody is the same. And
Right.
some patients require ongoing treatment because their lifestyle doesn't necessarily help them maybe follow the recommendations and the advice and the suggestions. So they need more help
Yeah.
um, because their case may well be more complicated. So some patients may return every 3 or 4 months as a like a top up or to
Yeah.
check in, make sure their body is at optimum as it possibly can be.
When you have somebody that you're treating, is there a specific type of lifestyle that you suggest to people? Like, do you have to maybe have limitations in your life, more sleeping, better care, what you eat, and so forth? Do you tell people that because sometimes you can go, you can get the help, you can start the healing process, but then if you don't continue to take care of yourself the way you should probably care for your body, it might not do anything. It might work for a little bit and then you'll go backwards. So is there, when you're healing somebody and you're helping, that person journey down the healing journey, is there suggestions or things that you tell them?
Absolutely. Yeah, you're 100% right. We do have to take responsibility for our healing journey. It isn't just about coming to see me for me to do the work that I'm doing. The
Right,
patient needs to take the responsibility in that journey. I am not actually the healer. I can initiate healing because I can
right.
remove a blockage
Hmm.
or remove a restriction, like what's in the way of that person healing.
Right, yeah,
But yes, so I talk a lot about mindset because I think the mind is so powerful. And if you can say certain things to yourself, like affirmations and declarations and prayers, this is hugely important to that patient's recovery, as
yeah,
well as really good sleep hygiene. So going to bed at a similar time and waking up the next day at a similar time.
yeah,
So hydration and exercise, nutrition, supplements, meditation or like breath work, mindfulness.
yeah.
So yes, there's a lot of different avenues that people need to also be aware of and
Mhm.
try their best. Even if they do one different thing a day or they just change one habit,
Right.
it's surprising that how much it can help me help them
Yes.
because then we work together as a team then.
Mhm.
And I do notice that the patients that are able to follow and they do better if they can,
Right.
because we also need an alkaline diet, preferably, and not acidic. So
Yeah.
we don't do well if we're eating processed foods and
Right.
if we're having so much sugar
Hmm.
or alcohol and
Right.
caffeine. So
Hmm.
there's a time when people can eat and drink certain foods, but overall, I try to encourage an alkaline diet, an alkaline environment, because
Right.
illnesses don't survive in alkalinity. They survive in acidity.
Yes.
again, depending on what the problem the patient is presenting with, would be what advice I would give them. But it's a very holistic approach.
Right.
And I don't stop talking for the entire appointment. I'm working with my hands to enable a healing response, but the entire time I'm giving so much,
Yeah.
like so many tips as to like, how you can help yourself, perhaps what you could eat, what supplements you could take, what exercise you could do, what maybe even like what purpose have you got in life that could drive you to
Yeah.
feel like you want to get out of bed in the morning.
Right.
Um, so yeah, there's a lot to it, isn't there?
There is. There is. Now, when it comes to sleep, what is your suggestion about sleep? Because sleep is very important. A lot of people have trouble sleeping, but what is your suggestion to people when you're trying to, start them on the healing process? What is your suggestion about how much sleep someone should get also?
I suggest a minimum of 7 hours. 7 or 8, I would say, is ideal. And preferably, you'd want to be in bed by, let's say, 10 p.m. because
Hmm.
you really want to be asleep by 10 or 10:30. So if we
Yeah.
said, be ready, lights off, but really it starts even an hour or two before then because you want to have maybe dim light, not
Right.
have bright light in the evening. You don't really want to be on your phone or your iPad for the last hour.
Yeah.
You certainly don't want to have eaten a big meal.
Right.
And also you would want to be hydrated. And then it's a case of, I would suggest side sleeping because when
Hmm.
we sleep on our side, it actually helps the detoxing of the brain. So the
Oh, really?
glymphatic system works when we go into a deep sleep, and we need the brain to detox. And it's better if you sleep on your side.
Oh,
And the
really?
brain only detoxes when we go into a deep sleep.
Hmm.
Deep sleep can take a few hours to get into the deep sleep.
Yeah.
So that's why you need like an earlier bedtime to be able to your body to be going into the deep sleep in the early hours of the morning because it's restoring you. It's
Right.
doing its best to create this detox response to make you healthy. So
Yeah.
we need to definitely honor this as a good sleep routine hygiene and avoiding caffeine. I mean, caffeine stays in the body, it stays in the brain even 12 hours after you've drank it. So if you've had a strong coffee, be aware that 25% of it is still going to be in the brain, keeping you alert.
Yeah.
12 hours later,
Wow.
it's being mindful that, okay, enjoy a coffee, but perhaps enjoy it before 10 o'clock in the morning. So you've
Yeah.
got your 12 hours later, not going to be zing.
Yeah.
Your mind is overactive.
Right. Right.
Maybe doing some deep breathing before going to sleep. So then you're stimulating your vagus nerve because
Mm.
the vagus nerve is important for rest and digest, which is then you want to be able to switch off from the day.
Yes.
You could like cheat the system by
Hmm.
doing the deep breathing, by stimulating the vagus nerve. So that could be a good practice as well for someone before they go to bed.
I
Deep
like that.
box breathing,
Hmm.
which is like maybe a count of four. So you could breathe in through your nose for a count of four, hold your breath for a count of four, breathe through your nose out for a count of four, and hold your breath for four. That's quite nice to do. It's quite simple as well. It's not hard enough to put somebody off doing it either. Whereas
Right.
some of the breathing techniques, if you're trying to count for 16, holding your breath for 16, that would put someone off, I think, if they were trying
Yeah.
it for the first time. So I think people can build up, but I think starting it, the simple one is good.
Right. Exactly. Oh my goodness, that's so funny. So, one or two procedures, actually, sessions could actually be depending on the person and what they need and how they take care of themselves. But some people could actually have really major effects, when it comes to healing with just one or two sessions, depending on the person and what they're going through and so forth.
Yeah, it doesn't have to cost people that much time or money. And I know, yes, it can be expensive, but when you look at what people decide to spend their money on,
Oh,
if
yeah.
they maybe value themselves higher, have better, better self-worth, and feel that they can justify that amount of money being spent on themselves. Some people find that a real struggle.
Yeah.
I don't think actually that it's expensive when two treatments can be so significant in someone's healing journey. It also, it's worth trying it as well, because then you look at the what have you lost for trying, because
Yeah.
so many people have life-changing results in a couple of sessions. But bearing in mind though that that isn't how everybody works.
Right.
I mean, I have been in practice for 27 years, and I had 4 years of training before that. And I work on myself so that when I come to my treatment room in my clinic room, I am 100% present. I don't have any issues myself because I prioritize my own health so
Right.
that I can totally deliver to the patient. So I do walk the talk. I
Mhm.
practice everything that I preach to other people, I follow myself so that I can totally deliver. And not all practitioners are like that. So
No.
when you choose someone, it is about choosing the right person. You know, you have to connect with them as well. You have to like
100%.
them, connect
Yeah.
with them. And I say to people, you know, you're not going to take financial advice off someone who's broke, or you shouldn't. So when you're going to take some health advice, or certainly when you're going to have any health treatment from someone,
Yes.
you need to be the best.
Right.
Because then I say to patients, you're not going to waste even £1 with me. I know you're not, because
Right.
everything I will bring so much value to this appointment.
Yes.
Like, yeah, the value is there. So I think when you're choosing a practitioner, it's about doing your homework on the practitioner, isn't
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Like reading their testimonials, you know, really, how good are they?
Right.
Because the testimonials speak volumes about how someone works. And
Yes.
you can't lie on Google reviews either, can you? A
No.
Google review is a Google review.
Yes.
So
100%.
yeah, it's always a good idea to check out the the practitioner and how good they are really.
Right. Oh, 100%.
I've worked on myself a lot over a very long time, a lot of self-development because I love it anyway. But
Yeah.
I want to be able to help people with my whole heart. I want patients to feel better and I
Yeah.
want to resolve their issues themselves. And
Right.
actually, I don't want to be the person that they rely upon either. I
Right.
want to be able to empower them so that they get themselves better and I teach them as many tools as possible
Right.
because if they keep coming back, it doesn't free up the appointment time for the new people. And I need them to get better so that I can help more people. So that's the other thing. You don't, you know, when you're seeking a practitioner, you don't want to keep going back either,
Right.
appointment after appointment. Like, what are you're missing something then? That shouldn't be the case. This is
Yes.
about educating the body to self-heal and repair and supporting it. And then really you shouldn't actually need lots and lots of treatments.
Oh, I love that. I love that because sometimes you can go to doctors for years and years and years and consistently be told that you need to come back, you need to come back, you need to come back. And it's nice to know that there are procedures out there that could have such effective results, and you can maybe go one session, two sessions, or a couple of sessions, and as long as you're taking care of your body and you're doing what you're supposed to, those sessions are so powerful that they could actually start the healing process and get you to the point where you want to be.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was just thinking of a young lad who comes to me and he has epilepsy
Mhm.
and he has not had many treatments at all. And he would be having an epileptic fit every month
Mhm.
and it would take him 24 hours to recover. So he would miss school or miss college. And
Yeah,
that's literally missing out on life for 24 hours. You don't want that
right.
for a teenager.
Yes.
And he has not had one epileptic fit since October.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And when he was having an epileptic fit, it was taking him 10 minutes to recover. Like he didn't have the 24 hours. So
Yeah.
he was missing no college days at all. So he would have the fit, but then be able to go to college the same day.
Yeah.
He couldn't do that before. And I
Right.
think that was only with two treatments as well. And now I see him every 3 or 4 months
Hmm.
just to make sure that we keep on top of it. We don't want him to have the epileptic fits coming back. So his mum is happy to bring him. And he only has 15 minutes treatment anyway. Just
Wow.
15 minutes in like it will be 3 months. And he hasn't had one since October. So you
That's
just
amazing.
wow, it is amazing. It could be possible, and who knows, maybe it doesn't work for everybody,
Hmm.
but some patients are not happy taking so much medication,
Yeah.
or they're not happy because the medication isn't working or the medication is limited.
Yeah.
So osteopathy really can just work alongside the medicine. It doesn't mean that you don't have to take medicine, but I think if you're unhappy with the result, then you could do something more and you could have the treatment alongside using the drugs.
Right. And
Your
maybe,
quality of life is better.
yes. Oh,
Yeah.
100%. Because a lot of times, a lot of these medications take people's quality of life away, and if you can maybe go for a treatment and you're doing well and they try to decrease your medication or put you on a different medication, it might actually help you overall. Integrated medication, medicine is great because, sometimes just doing things naturally. And if you have to take medication, the two of them combined could be miraculous.
Yeah, so the cranial osteopathy helps for the brain to detox. So
Hmm.
then if the person is having to rely on medication, that's okay because actually let's work with the health of the brain. Let's get
Hmm.
your brain actually detoxing better so that the drugs you are taking, you're going to suffer the side effects less because actually your body is clearing the natural waste that the drugs are creating.
Right.
And that's where a lot of the problems are, is that that bit's being missed. The brain is the glymphatic system, which is like the
Yeah.
lymphatic system in the body. It's not being addressed. It's
Right.
not being worked on. So you just get a huge overload of toxicity around the brain, and
Right.
it causes so much havoc and dysfunction. And so the person isn't able to then tolerate the drugs and they're having the side effects. So yeah, the two can work really well together if that's what needs to happen. I mean, some patients are able to come off their medication
Hmm.
or not even need surgery,
Right.
but then other people they choose to do both medication and have treatment as well, and then their quality of life is great. Like they're
Yeah.
happy. Yeah,
I
they can
love it.
fulfill their purpose in their life.
That's wonderful. Now, you were
Mm.
saying that you were working on yourself. Are there things people could do at home while they're home after they maybe had a session with you? Are there things they could do at home to maybe help the healing process themselves, like exercises that could help them
So
or strategies?
certainly, I mean, I think the biggest thing is the sleeping and the hydration.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important to drink at least 2 liters of water a day, I would say
Hmm.
on average. And people do not drink enough water and they have too much tea and coffee and fizzy drinks.
Yeah.
Big part of it needs to be the actual hydration and
Yeah.
then eating the right foods. So I'll can come on to the exercise, but I think the bigger aspects of it perhaps are making sure that you're eating the right food that the brain needs. So
Hmm.
you want to be having anti-inflammatory foods. You could be like having a teaspoon of walnut oil as an example, which is then not expensive, but
Yeah.
the brain loves walnuts. So you could it's an omega 3, which is very good for the brain. It doesn't have to be expensive, as well as berries. Berries are
Right.
very good for the brain as well. But and green leafy vegetables and seeds, generally nuts, but walnuts are the best, I think. Reducing the processed foods.
Hmm.
But exercise, generally any exercise, the body loves it and it
Right.
helps the body to detox and it creates the endorphins and it lowers stress. So I think any exercise that somebody can do, it's going to be helpful. And that the best exercise, I think, but it does cost the money, is on a trampoline, a rebounder.
Oh,
So a
really?
rebounder is really beneficial. And you could buy a second-hand one. You don't have to buy a new one, but just on a very small trampoline, bouncing. This is really good for the body's detoxing.
Oh,
And I
really?
think on the whole, we don't detox enough. So we
Yes.
take in toxins all the time from just the air and the
Hmm.
water. Um, Everything we touch is even a till receipt that you touch when you
Hmm.
go to buy your groceries, even on that, the toxins we take in our body from the till receipt.
Yes.
We're exposed to so many toxins. We really need to do more of detoxing.
Yeah.
So the rebound is very good for detoxing. But I think just, yeah, bouncing. But any form of exercise, it's great though if you can sweat, because
Hmm.
when we perspire, we also get rid of metals
Yes.
heavy metals in the body and generally toxins. So I think sweating is really important.
Mm-hmm.
And I have patients maybe that can't actually physically build up a sweat because of they're immobile. So then
Yes.
I say to them, have a hot bath. So that close the windows, close the doors, have the
Mm-hmm.
bath as hot as you can manage because you will sweat that way. And
Yeah.
that could be a good thing to do. But so I say high intensity exercise is great. I go
Right.
and I do boxing. I do like a HIIT type exercise. But I counteract that then with my yoga for
Mm-hmm.
stretching. Because I think stretching also for the body needs the stretching aspect as well.
Yeah.
That also helps with alignment because the alignment of the body and also just your posture is so important. Too
Yeah.
many people using a laptop and over their iPad and phone, and this really doesn't. That really affects digestion
Yeah.
because we're compromising the digestive system by being slumped. So I think when you're at home, remember your posture. Like
Mm-hmm.
sit upright with your head above your shoulders. It's so important. The body needs you in that upright,
Yeah.
aligned position for energy as much as the healing in your body from being in
Right.
the mind.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Now, if
And I
we
would,
go ahead.
so I was just going to say about the water. I think it's important as well that people realize that it's better to filter your water.
Yeah.
So yeah, either go into a spring. I'm very fortunate. I live near Malvern. So I
Mm-hmm.
go to Malvern regularly and I collect water from the hills.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And I use a distiller as well. So I use distilled water and spring water. But otherwise, making sure that people filter their water. You want to try and clear as much as you can from the tap water. I think that's
Oh, yeah.
important. Again, we don't want to take in so many toxins.
Yes, that's 100% true. It's so important to have good, clean water. Even when you shower, the water should be filterized and clean because it goes right through your pores, right into your body. And a lot of times people don't even realize that. That is so very true.
It
Now,
is.
if we had to take today's conversation and you wanted to point out and emphasize on some important factors, what are some of the things you'd like to emphasize on?
I would say it's so important to listen to the whispers of your body before they become screams.
Hmm.
I think it's very easy to overlook a symptom
Hmm.
because the person thinks it's my age, I need to put up with it,
Hmm.
or it will go away, it will go away next week or next month, but
Yeah.
it doesn't often go away. This small symptom at the beginning starts to cascade into a nightmare,
Yeah.
and it can be so disruptive on the body that I think if we could be better at being aware of our body, how it feels, what's normal for us, and
Right.
then recognizing when it doesn't feel right, and
Hmm.
then taking action on that rather than ignoring it and hoping it will get better or go away. Because too many times it doesn't happen, and unfortunately, the problem then becomes chronic.
Hmm.
And that isn't any good because then you're going to need more help from other people, more
Yes.
cost, more days off work because you're unwell and just affecting your general living and
Yes.
your standards of living. So I say it comes down to focus on your body, be aware of it, and then recognizing any symptom that you've got, that is your body's communication with you. It's a
Yeah.
good thing that you're feeling it
Hmm.
and prioritize it. Do whatever you can to get rid of it. And
Yes.
that's where maybe you want to change lifestyle
Right.
or do something that you haven't been doing to try to correct it.
Right.
So maybe like, yeah, changing your diet to being, for example, alkaline,
Yes.
or sleeping, going to bed earlier, or drinking
Yes.
water. So some of the things can be very straightforward, but I would say that every single symptom that you have is a warning.
Hmm.
And I think value that and see it as an opportunity
Hmm.
to take some action so that it's saving you from a lot of suffering down the
Right.
path.
Oh, so true. So true. Very good points. Very good. Now, if you had to, describe all the services that you do, can you tell the audience and the listeners what you do and the type of services you offer to people?
Yes, I work with the workplace assessment, so I'm able to analyze someone's sitting position They upload photographs, they fill out a questionnaire, and they send it to me, and I'm able to virtually work with that person's posture and show them perhaps where they need to have their screen or their keyboard, uh,
Mm-hmm.
the position of their shoulders, their knees, their
Right.
feet, their eyebrow level, should be at the screen should be at eyebrow level.
Mm-hmm.
The posture is so important for the health of the body.
Yes.
So I that's one of the services I offer. And I do remote consultations so I can diagnose and help support someone's health journey virtually,
Mm-hmm.
because I take a full medical history before the phone call so that I'm aware of the whole medical history before. Then I'm able to chat through the potential, well, we call it differential diagnosis. There are
Yeah.
a number of different diagnoses that it could be. So I
Mm-hmm.
work remotely that way. And then my hands-on healing work is in a clinic in London in Harley Street,
Mm-hmm.
and then in a very small town where I grew up in Herefordshire. Um, and then with my books, the two books.
I love it. I love it. Now, where can people find you? Your website?
The website, particularly if you're looking at testimonials and the types of patients that I've helped, that would be worcester-osteo.com.
Okay.
And for your listeners, actually, I would like to offer them a free PDF copy of the book Mental Clarity as a gift.
Oh, wonderful.
That you can find at braincareexpert.com.
Oh,
And I've
wonderful.
just started a YouTube channel where I'm posting 3 videos a day, and all of them are for self-help, and also like motivating or
Yeah.
just empowering, educating, inspiring. And that's Healing with Michelle Davies.
Oh, I
I think
love it.
yeah. So I'd love it to have a following. It's just new. It's just started.
Well,
But
we'll
that
make
would
sure
be
we put all
great.
that information in the description box so everybody will have availability and they can go there. That is
Thank you.
wonderful.
There's a free gift with the Smarter Sitting. So it's smartersitting.com. But I've put a tutorial video on there so you can actually learn from me and how you should sit at your desk.
Oh, I
So your
love
listeners
that.
might want to look at that as well. That's smartersitting.com.
No, there's many times from sitting on a desk, you get up and your back is killing you, and you just it's hard to walk around or even bend if you don't sit properly.
Yes. And so often people accept that though. And
Yeah,
they think, oh, I have a lower back problem because I sit at a desk.
right.
Actually, no, you need to correct that.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, it could be just as simple as changing the position that you're sitting in so your knees are lower than your hip bone.
Yeah,
Yeah. Some things can be really simple to change.
100%. I think that's what people don't realize is that there are a lot of problems, but they could be easily, with a few tweaks here and there, they could actually heal themselves and go away.
And it costs less appointments then as well, because
Exactly.
patient has actually corrected their problem for me.
Yeah.
They've just decided to sit back in their chair and lean against their chair and let the chair support them, as
Hmm.
opposed to sitting on the edge of the chair, causing their lower back muscles to be firing all the time,
Right.
leading to constant tension. And actually, all they need to do is rely on the chair and sit back.
Yeah.
Think, wow, that's so easy.
It is so easy. I love it. I love it. Well, Michelle, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for coming on this show. I really enjoyed this. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we go?
I think we've covered a lot.
Okay.
There's so much more I could, of course, share, but we'd need another time.
Well, you know what? You're welcome to come back anytime you'd like. I'd love to have you back on the show.
Thank you. It's been a lot of fun. Thank
Yes,
you
to
for having
hear.
me,
Oh,
Stacey.
you're very welcome. You have a great day.
Thank you. You too.